Welcome to the RVY podcast.
Thank you for
I'm.
having me.
Oh man, no problem. Thank you for coming through, bro. It's
Appreciate it.
it's funny, man. I'm glad that my guy was able to come through here today. My guy JD. I know I met you here in Los Angeles on the open mic scene, man.
Yes,
But
sir.
before we talk about that, I feel like I can say this. I feel like your vibe, man, like the vibe that you bring, like we could have met any goddamn where we would have probably connected, bro. But we met on the open mic scene. You're a dope open mic artist. I mean, you're a dope spoken word artist,
Thank you, man.
rapper as well. I'm gonna add that too because I heard you spit and that
I
shit's
got some
crazy.
music too
You
now.
got
Yeah,
music
yeah.
too, yeah. I respect that. You got Open Kanvas, which is an open mic. Yeah. Oh wait, tell us about that real quick before we go too far.
Okay,
I don't
cool,
want to
cool.
call it an open mic because it's called Open Canvas and it just trumps most open mic nights with the name alone. So,
I
Open
appreciate
Canvas.
that. So with Open Canvas, it's a company that me and some friends came up with, and our whole purpose is just being a platform of resources for artists. So similar to how you probably thought of it, the best idea to start off was an open mic.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of artists need exposure. A lot of artists want to come together, do their thing.
Uh-huh.
So we would do an open mic. Hey, you're a hip hop artist. You're a singer. You're a dancer. So we would put the platform together.
Right on.
And that's where it'd be like an open mic, but really you'll see music, dance. You know, we've had people produce like films and like actually premiered at our stuff before.
That's what's up.
So it's literally an open canvas. How every
What?
artist needs a canvas, we're just opening those different
I'm
aspects.
telling you, you beat me to something, sir. No jealousy at all. I love it, man. I
All good.
respect it. So we know we heard of these things. Like I met you in that area, but
Mm-hmm.
you're a lot more than just the open mic nights. Now I wanted our guests to kind of get to know who JD is. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
For sure, man. Well, for everybody watching, appreciate you for the platform as well.
Oh, no problem.
I'm JD Bailey. Basically, I grew up, born and raised in the Valley, from Woodland Hills.
That's
And
what's up.
I just feel like growing up, I was surrounded by so many talented people. I've always enjoyed hip hop. I've always enjoyed poetry. So when me and my friends, we would have the same conversation, like, it's so tough to get resources here in LA.
Yeah,
You know, you either have to know the right person or pay to play at this venue.
yeah.
And that was really the basis of what started, you know, my kind of navigation through entertainment,
Uh-huh.
music, poetry, and everything. It's like there's too much talent to not get seen.
Yeah.
So obviously we started with Open Canvas. We did the platform stuff. And then I started exploring my own spoken word side. I
Okay.
always like writing. I used to do music in high school.
Where?
And poetry was one. It's like a way to get your feelings out, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I know that too well.
Man, and two, it was just a way to meet people.
Yeah.
And I'm not the most talkative when I meet people in person.
Yeah.
So to be a poet and to share something in front of everybody before you meet them,
Yeah.
it like took it to the next step.
Yeah, it kind of like opens that door. Like
Mhm.
as far as like, like people have trouble connecting with people. Like as soon as you perform in front of somebody, you've already opened up to them.
Right.
So like
right.
that communication becomes that much more easier, like,
Mhm.
and I love it. I love that about that. But you said you started writing poetry was your thing starting out. But when did you start writing?
So actually, it was music was the first thing that I tried doing in high school.
Word.
It was me and a few friends. We'd do some hip hop. We'll do like covers, you know, YouTube beat this. and
Yeah.
We ended up putting out music every week. And then one of our friends that was going to Cal Berkeley,
Uh-huh.
he needed like a project.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, I like your music. I'll produce your stuff." Blah 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 blah. We did a little EP like mixtape type of thing in high school,
Yeah.
and then from there, I took like a hiatus going to college
Uh-huh.
until I finally like the itch came back.
Oh, that's what's
You
up.
know, all my friends they started leveling up. I'm like, man, I missed this. You know.
Yeah.
And I went from selling cars. I was doing pretty well selling cars,
Uh-huh.
but I had saved up enough to just like really jump out there.
Yeah.
So I had quit selling cars. I got my business cards. I did maybe 1 month from opening Open Canvas and doing the car dealership until I'm like, look, I'm just going to, I'm going to jump out, do this full time. If I need help, I'm going to get an Uber. I can do Lyft.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So-
you're just hustling to make it happen. And I feel that. Like as
Yeah.
creatives, it's kind of hard to be boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard. Like we can't be. It's impossible. Something in us always urges us to get out and do something creative. So like that 9 to 5 is always going to be a issue. It's always going to be a obstacle for us. So
Mhm.
I respect that, man. And it's obviously led to so much, man. Like
It's a blessing,
and
man.
it's definitely a blessing because some people don't understand, because some people do. Some people don't understand is that these platforms provide a space for so many people to kind of open up and kind of share things that help to pull them out of dark spaces. So, and that's what I believe our art forms are good for the most part. Like a lot of us are able to share ourselves and open up to people that when we are, a lot of us are introverts, so it's kind of harder for us to talk to people. So like that platform, that stage provides that space, and then it also allows us to connect with people in a faster way. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, man. I love what you did, and I love what I know is coming from you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But that's
sir.
cool. So I know that you are also, like you said, you started off with music. I started out writing poetry at like 14. Like,
nice.
right? I didn't know what the hell it was. I didn't, because it was like, all right, it was like your little love poems and stuff. And I'm
You
like,
ever watch Def Jam? Is that what got you into
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, me too.
yeah.
Yeah.
That poetry and all of that. Yeah. So I was watching that, but I honestly, I didn't have any guidance, should I say? Like in Detroit, there were ways to go and find it, but I didn't have people around me to drag me into the creative space or to go in there with them. So like I was just doing that for a minute, and I got to college, and I just kept finding myself around rappers. And then like I'm just sitting freestyling with my bros and stuff, and they're like, "Hey man, you can actually rap." I'm like, "No, I can't." And then from there I started actually trying. So I started like writing a couple verses here and there.
You got music out too, or where?
I got
Where's
some
it at?
I got some things out, but I don't want people to hear it. Like so it's not even that it's bad, because I'm actually pretty good at it. I learned that a good minute ago, but I haven't put enough time into rap to say that I want to be known as a rapper. Like, and for so many years, to be honest, it was like, all right, I'm a poet. I don't want nobody thinking of me as a rapper because I don't want that pressure. But I also like the competition of it. So like being competitive with other people who are rappers, it's not even like on no beef level shit. It's just more like you're competitive, I'm competitive. Let's do a track together.
Shit,
yeah. Or you send me a beat, I send you a separate beat, and we just trade 16s or something like that. So that's what I love about it, man. I mean, it opened that up for us. But let's get back to you. I know I'm talking a lot
It's
about
all
this,
good,
but,
man. It's all good.
but no, like you, give us a little bit more about JD. What you said you're from
From the Valley,
Woodland Hills. What was it like growing up here as a creative, like as a kid, when you learned that you were going to be this creative being? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you discover your creative side?
So I feel like I don't know, the discovery process, it felt like a long process.
Yeah.
Because even going through school and everything, I enjoyed these things, but I never honestly thought that I would do that in a way. Growing up, you go to school, you get a good job, blah, 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 blah. But then there were certain parts in high school and in college where you start to see like, hey, this entrepreneurship thing, I could take it anywhere I want.
Right.
And then the goal is always to just enjoy and have fun with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So when I started, seeing my friends naturally all being in music, talent, entertainment, I'm like, how do I do something in this lane to where I would do this for free? Like I would pay to do it. And that's kind of where Open Kanvas sprung up, because, obviously you having a company too. Yeah. It's not free. You're paying to do this stuff.
Yes, sir.
And it's like at the end of the day, throwing these shows, traveling, putting together all this work, taking all this time, like
it is a lot.
It has to be worth it at the end of the night. The effects and like the results that I get to put in this time and this sweat equity. Okay. So when I started seeing those things, I think for me, where I discovered it was in the fraternity. I know we're both in the fraternity.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that.
And I was social chair, and I was throwing these parties, like putting together buses and different trips and stuff. Yeah. But then I would start getting like a entertainment aspect, and I would start booking performers. Okay. For our parties. And I met one of my fraternity brothers. He's out in Arizona. I actually just saw
fraternity?
Him. TKE, Tau Kappa Epsilon.
Tau Kappa Epsilon. That's what's up.
Yeah,
Phi Beta Sigma over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's a lot of like Sigmas out here too.
That it is.
Long Beach Sigma. Season has some Sigmas.
That it is.
Yeah. So but it just opened my eyes to so much, because I could see that these different fraternity brothers are doing their thing in different aspects, and I'm like, oh, once you see that it's possible, that the path is already drawn out. It's just a matter of, are you going to take it or not?
That is so real.
Yeah.
Somebody needed to hear that. Like, no, for real. That's pretty dope, man. So how do you said like something about making it worth it. So as a producer, because I'm also a producer, I produce Wordplay Weekend, open mic night since 2017, right? Been enjoying it. But like at some points in time, I was so willing to give this thing up because it was always so much. And if I didn't have the right people in place, or if I happened to lose people to certain things, it always became a thing where I was like, damn, I'm overwhelmed at this. So how, as a producer, would you say that we make this thing worth it for us?
I think really, now that I'm seeing it, I've been doing this for years, like 4 or 5, almost 6 years now. Throwing events, working with artists, doing things where it's like the equity of, putting your time towards things you care about. And where I see the best results is just knowing your own boundaries. Yeah. And that's one of the more difficult things for me. Obviously, you know, we enjoy these things. We want to
Yeah.
put them on.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you don't always make it how you need to make it.
Not at all.
So
People don't know.
I started drawing these boundaries of like the results that I needed to get. And I started like, you know, taking more time for myself and figuring out like, okay, if I'm going to get this result, I need to do this, this, and that.
Yeah.
And when it started coming up short, I had to draw back a little bit. So actually, like before the quarantine, I was almost at that point. I know we spoke about it before the podcast, but I was like, man, I've been doing this for 5 years. I just traveled to 8 states in 2 weeks.
I remember
and I
that.
still can't even pay my stuff.
What was it? Journey to, what was it called?
It was a Journey Through tour. It was the application tour. It was the Paint Your
Yeah.
Future tour.
So
We
you in
started putting
DC?
together tours. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in DC. I did poetry for a bunch of young adults through LULAC, which is a Latino organization.
That's what's up.
And they basically put Latinos through politics and different, you know, community orgs.
Yeah.
So that they can create change
That's what's up,
through the
bro.
youth. So I was doing my friend Andreas, my fraternity brother as well. He said, hey, if you want to come out to DC, you could do some poetry, network. They got whatever you want to do over there.
That's love, man.
Man, and it was it's eye opening.
Yeah.
But you know, you travel and you see these different things, and it's like, man, I rocked a crowd of 200, or like I
Yeah.
performed at this school with 500.
Yeah.
And then you come back and it's like, oh, but my car is due.
reality
Yeah.
ain't leave, bro. That shit's still here waiting for you.
Yeah, so
But-
I'm appreciative of the quarantine because I was almost at that point, and it was like a mandatory stop button.
Yeah.
And things changed up, and it almost was like a refresh. And even it's like a
Yeah.
year later after quarantine.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, you know, a lot of us needed this break.
Oh man, completely. To be honest, I didn't know how to stop. I didn't know how to hit the stop button. I mean, it was like 3 years. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna fucking stop. I already done put 3 years into this.
Mhm.
You know, I gotta build it to something else. So like just before it, I was speaking to my other guys on the other podcast. I was like, all right, so I was ready to level up, take it to another level, and then this shit happened, and I felt like it was the most necessary thing. Because I was like a week out before the show, and then everything was cut, everything was canceled, and it hurt so bad at the moment. But now that I look back at it, I felt like it was the best thing. Cause I don't know how the fuck that turnout was gonna be. You know what I mean? Being real, like I thought I had like a pretty good amount of sales, a pretty good amount of support and everything, but at the end of the day, who knows what could have happened? Could have been great, you know. Could have been like all of the things that I imagined of this, but.
And you were producing a project at the time?
I was producing Art Code. It was a show at the Barnesdale Theater over in like Hollywood.
Oh yeah, the big finale for all of your Wordplay Wednesdays, right?
Yeah. So it was gonna be this space was like 300 seats, right?
Yeah.
And I was like working up because like I wanted to do I wanted to do the Saban Theater, right? Saban has like 2,000 seats. Barnesdale was like taking that next step from Wordplay, getting to this next level, and then we're gonna work on this level for a little bit, and then we're gonna
that's a major level.
You know,
2,000, man.
Exactly. I was trying to get there, and that's still like the goal at the end of the day. So even when this shit clears up, I'm really ready to jump back at that. But this break really opened my mind up to so many things, man. Put me in a position to kind of educate myself and kind of do some work on my mental health a lot, because like all of that thinking and planning and all of that shit for 3 years straight, like I hadn't missed a month. Like I was like, I had finally missed a month, like the December before this whole quarantine happened. But like other than that, every month was straight. So I was always booking people, doing all of that shit, most of the work for that for the most part. And then this shit happened, and it really saved me some mental space, you know?
Right. Because you can only take so much, and then you have those like, either it's a break or it's like a forced break or a timed break.
Yeah.
Where you choose or it chooses you.
Yeah, and it was very much necessary, man. So from here, like, what would you say would be your next step? Are you going to, like, if quarantine just ends tomorrow, what is JD doing?
Well, so first thing, kind of background with the same thing when everything changed up. That was my mental space, and I had to figure out, look, sometimes entertainment might not be the only route.
Right.
And I went out, I got my license to do insurance. So that's actually
Nice.
that's my hustle, day gig, whatever. I do insurance sales, and then I also do credit repair.
Oh,
I got a business doing credit repair as well.
You know, a lot of people need to holler at you, sir.
Yes, sir. I had to learn myself, though. Like, I'm a product of my own, learning, right? Because I have my mentors, and then me and one of my mentors partnered up. So it's like I learned more diversity. Because you get so caught up in your dreams and your passions, and then the reality of it is, like, I was living with my parents. I didn't have much money for my stuff, and as much as I traveled, I didn't have much foundation to stand on.
Right.
So this quarantine gave me more of a foundation, like a reality check. Like, bro, you
That's what
27.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like now I have my own crib through the quarantine.
Yeah.
You know, I have like these different things that are set up. So if I need space, I can take that.
Yeah.
But with Open Canvas, we're trying to navigate like this type of new world, you know, because things are so different. That if we're not doing all the live shows, what is it now?
Right.
So we're actually building an application.
That's
Where
what's
that
up.
platform we were doing through the live shows, we can actually meet and do this through an application. If you're looking for bookings, if you're looking for different resources, you can connect and talk through this application.
Hey man, I guess we're gonna have to talk after this too.
Yeah, one of my business partners, he builds apps. His name's Jamar, and he was one of the original founders. Like me, Jamar, and Jenna. It's 3 of us now.
Builds
And
apps. You winning already, sir. I swear he keep trumping me and shit. Like it's like that's a good thing though. Like I wish. Boy, you got the. Here we go. Take a
Man,
break for that real quick.
I appreciate it.
That is a.
It's not real yet.
No.
We got to make it real, but
you gonna make it real. It's
Right.
already in works, man. Like
Yeah.
I believe that, man. I know how you work, so I know it's gonna get done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's there's been no time or no reason for me to ever doubt that you're gonna do something progressive. So I respect it, man, and I love the fact that you actually got that person on your team. It's like, boy, when you get that app
Yeah.
going.
Well, we
man,
started together. Like he dropped out of college
Yeah.
to learn how to build apps.
That's
and then
a
he had to
beautiful
go
thing.
through the tunnel.
Yeah.
So I was basically doing all the Open Canvas entertainment stuff.
And he was like,
And he was just in the tunnel, like learning
That's
apps, building
what's
apps.
up.
And we still stayed cool. You know, obviously we all play our different roles.
yeah.
Jenna, she's kind of like how you do with accounting and taxes and stuff. She's
Ooh.
more of like that managerial type of headspace.
What?
So it's just we all have our different roles. We're not always together. But, you know, the vision is there.
Yeah, y'all
And-
killing this so far. Like, I mean, if you got an accountant, one guy working the apps, and then somebody just being a straight producer, like you're winning already. All you got to do is build around that. Like, to be honest, and that
And execution is probably the biggest thing, and that's kind of
100.
what we always need to talk about, the execution and the results.
yeah,
And that's kind of where it's like I need to get the results or else those boundaries come back, you know?
yeah, keep those KPIs up, bro. I respect that, man. Just that's dope. So I want to kind of like segue into something that I saw online. One of the things I wanted to touch on was a question. There was a question about basically the question is, what's one of the hardest pills you've had to swallow as an adult? And like I got so many, I had like posted this thing on Facebook to kind of see like what people were dealing with, you know what I mean? And I do this quite often. I post a lot of different topics, and I just, I'll wait to see what people post so I can kind of gain some perspective. Because like I don't know it all. I do a lot of shit. People look up to me in some ways, but I'm like, I don't know every fucking thing. And I want to say this also for those people who will be pestering me on my Facebook pages when they think I'm over here like bashing women and stuff. I'm not. I'm literally trying to learn. So, this is for all of y'all. Where them cameras at? This is for y'all.
Which
all
one?
right?
Which one?
Well, right here. I'm trying to learn something. So that's why I post these things. But this one, when I posted this the other day, I got so many shocking answers, man, and I just want to kind of go through the list real quick, and then we can kind of touch on it as well. But one of the answers was, so one of the hardest pills or toughest pills that someone had to swallow was like losing a loved one, right? That's always hard. Like we're kind of like in the process of losing my auntie right now, which kind of sucks. It's weird to say that, but like she's in hospice now, and you know the whole family's hurting. So I know lots of people deal with that one. Like that's losing loved
I'm
ones.
sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It's a part of life, and I'm accepting it as that. You know, that's one thing. Another thing was this person said that they wanted to stop holding people accountable for their own expectations of those people. That's so real, right? Because a lot of times we all like start off with expectations of other people, and they're not warranted. Like it's like you have to kind of give people space to be who they are, and you also have to put yourself in position to grow to understand that. So a lot of people, I
Like
think,
you want them to be the them that you see.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and you can't let that go. So you get mad at them and you're frustrated at them.
Yeah, that's the
see
thing.
that
That's
in
the
my
real
own
thing.
family too, yeah.
I can't even lie. It's something that I'm growing through and that I've grown through. You know, grown through and still got some room for growth. So like that's real. Another thing was someone said they realized that they can't save everyone. You know, like for me, I think that was a big thing too because I remember for a long period of my life up until recent, I was like always trying to put everybody on my back. You know, I'm like, fuck it, let's move together, let's grow together. Let me help you with this, you help me with this, all this other stuff, and then again put them right back in that space of expectation because I'm trying to help so much and I believe that I should get that in return. So that's real.
And it takes away from what you're doing to try to carry everybody else.
That is.
I had that same situation, losing team members and
Yeah,
people not
boy.
being fully a part of the vision.
Boy, yeah, that's the realest stuff, bro.
And then that's where the mental pressure goes on you. Like kind of going back to, you know, expecting things from other people.
Yeah.
When we were doing the tours, you know, there's so many contingent things that landed on other people's, you know, their reliability.
Yeah.
And if I'm out of town and I can't trust one or two or three people,
right.
Now it's like I'm out of town, I don't have money, and I'm over here on a dream and like $2.
Right.
You know, like
right.
J. Cole says, like $1 in a dream, and it's just
it's real.
You got to face yourself at that point.
That boy.
Like, what am I doing out here? Why did I trust this? What?
Yeah, it be like that though. But these are those wake up calls. So here's another one. So everyone don't want to see you do better than them. That was a hard one. You know, like because like I don't, you know, I don't know gossip stuff, but it's real in some cases. It's a hard lesson to learn when you realize people close to you that you give so much love and respect to are like it seems as if they're like purposely going against you and your growth. Like that's something I think a lot of people see or find out at a certain point. And in some cases, some people probably read it wrong too, just being real from both sides. You can read it wrong, and then in some cases, you can read it right. And you find out that some people will just be like, all right, I'm off of self. And like, you're doing this, boy, I need to do it better than you. You know what I mean? Like, you got your open mic. It was never a point in time where I was like, you know what, my open mic needs to be better than JD's, and I'm not going to support him. You know what I mean? Now, I do want to admit the thing that I'm at fault for is that I didn't come to enough Open Kanvas events. I wish I had. You know what I mean? But the truth is, it was always love. I want to see people succeed just as much as myself. I want for them what I want for myself. So in that case, I think it just takes a little growth for some people to get through that.
And I think that's more of a perspective. Like, that's more of an opinion that person probably said.
Yeah.
Because, you know, probably people like me, you, the people in our community and the way I've seen it in more of like the LA event producing scene.
Yeah.
It's not so much about competition.
Yeah.
But it's about growth. And like, if you got 100 people to your show and my last show had 25 people, I'm at your show every time. What are you doing? Like, how many flyers did you make? What artists did you book?
Ask questions.
When did you drop those? When did you drop those flyers? Or you have an email list? Like,
closed mouth don't get fed, bro. Like that's just real for me. Like if it were anything, anybody could always ask me questions. Like always come through. In fact, for me, it's like if anybody ever hit me up, like, hey, I need another person for this or whatever, I was always sending people like artists to perform at their shows, and I got some in return too. So. Got to reciprocate it. So there's always love out here, man. That's all I get. So we get another one. Somebody said, in the end, I realized that I'm all I have. Yeah, I get that. I get that from another place, too, because, like, I remember being homeless, like, a couple years ago. I actually lost my apartment. And, you know, like, in the beginning of the process, my brother had offered me to stay at his place during the nights. Like, so during the day I'll be at work, I do whatever I'm doing, handle my business, and I come sleep at his place at night, right? But some nights I get there late because of events and stuff, and they be sleep. And I don't mean like just sleep, but they like knock the fuck out. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't understand this shit. Like, I'm like, man, I'm hitting the doorbells, and I don't want to be disrespectful, knock on windows and shit. But at a certain point, I had to like realize, all right, they ain't coming. So you got to go sit in your car, sleep in the car. You might get a call back at 5 a.m., you know, stuff like that. And like in that moment, like I had like 9 months of dealing with that and trying to figure out how to live my life out of my trunk and out of my back seat of my car. Like, so I was like, no, it was 11 months. And I learned so much. And in that moment, I think I stopped depending on other people. I realized, again, like this person said, I'm all I have. But that I need to work harder within myself to come out of this situation. And I grew so much from that reality. So that's for the person who posted that is very real. Depending on how you look at it, it's very real.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so another person, people won't understand. That's a quote from someone. Hardest pill they had to swallow is people won't understand, right? Learned a lesson from that while trying to explain.
Because you have to explain your way out of that.
Yeah,
It's common. Yeah, no, I
but
get you.
it's the truth, man. Someone said, I wasted so much time worrying about what other people thought. Now, this was my guy, Gio. Um, so much love for this brother. He was always, to me, and you're going to learn this from me finally, but like I always thought you were like one of the most educated brothers I've ever met. You know what I mean? Like you and Malik Perkins, one of the greatest brothers. Like y'all were just so smart. And I just felt like I looked at y'all as like competition in the sense that I wanted to be on your level. So like there was not competition in the sense that I wanted anything against you, but it was just respect. I had so much respect for these guys. But to find out that he was going through something similar to what I just explained, and we talked about it in this whole this Facebook post. It was just like it was kind of cool, you know. It brings me peace at times when I find that so many people can relate to the same situation. Like for instance, when I was dealing with that homeless situation, I remember working at the I remember going to the gym. Right, I was staying at the gym.
To shower and everything.
Yes,
like there,
yeah. So keeping the gym membership so I could shower, and all of that stuff. And I remember like one night I was about to break, right, and then I looked behind me, and there was a car sitting behind me, right, and there was a guy sleeping in the car, and then I looked to my side, and there were two people in the van. And then I looked to my right, and there was like another car of another person. I'm like,
sleeping in the car.
Exactly. So I'm like, in this case, I couldn't feel bad for myself anymore because now I'm looking at other people who are going through the same thing, and that helped me get through it. So like him saying that was you know it helped me, you know, kind of see the situation a little better. And anytime I find out that somebody else is going through something at this point, after learning what I learned from that experience, man, I just appreciate hearing it, appreciate hearing the growth from people in those situations. Because like some people take it, they'll go down the wrong path from it, right? They'll end up in a worse situation. And some people, a lot of them, to be honest, end up growing so much from it. And I love watching that shit, bro. Like not that I want to see you homeless,
Right.
but like I love watching the growth in people. It's a very beautiful thing about life, you know?
And I think that's why we work with the up and coming artists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's so many people trying to jock and fight for like these different industry or label type of artists. And I feel like me, you, and a handful of others, like we actually thrive and we look for those people that are on the brink.
Yeah.
And all they need is like one or two introductions.
Yeah.
All they need is a stage to really show what they got.
That's true.
And it's like, even outside of the entertainment stuff, the growth is kind of a lot of where we come together.
That's
seeing
true.
people grow.
That is so true. So with that, that's enough of this list. What was one of the toughest pills you've had to swallow as an adult?
I feel like during the quarantine, I learned a lot. And one of them was just like, you don't have to solve every problem. You know, like I do a lot of different things, and it's taken me from like entertainment, credit repair, insurance, all these different things.
Yeah.
And then I had, you know, a family issue. Like my dad, he got sick, and he was forced to retire. And then the same time I was having roommate issues. You know, there's some mental health things right there. You know what I'm saying? And we had to live together with that.
Yeah.
And it's just like all of this stuff happened at once to where I had to balance it, and I just had to pick and choose. And then at that point, I realized, like, you don't have to solve everything. You know, at the end of the day, life is a lot simpler than we make it. Of course, we have dreams and, like, visions and places we want to get to. But the more we could simplify it, like, the better it becomes for our mentals. And we can get and navigate through it when we have a clear vision.
That's true,
But
man.
I had to drop those expectations on myself. Because, you know, doing this entertainment stuff and moving back and forth with, you know, trying to chase your dream and face reality. Like, I've had my own moments, too, where it's like, you know, you don't break, or, like, maybe I had, like, days where I would hyperventilate because I had, like, 4 shows in 1 week. You know, and I was trying to book everything. Or, like, I had 3 different cities in a 2-week span, and I had to communicate with transportation and figure out with no budget. And it was just, like, it took me to a point where I would, like, stop and I would hyperventilate.
Yeah.
And I had to choose to not do that to myself.
I respect that.
And it was a tough decision because, obviously, you're, I guess, you want to think like your efficiency is down because you're not hustling as much.
Yeah.
But then when I look back at it, it's like I was doing a lot of work for not that much results.
Uh,
And
that is a hard one, but it's a real like it's some real
yeah.
shit when you come to that realization that I'm doing this wrong and I need to correct this. Like that's a beautiful space to be in. To finally be in. You know, you got to drag yourself through everything else to get there sometimes, but like the fact that you made it there is a blessing. I've known some people who've done like open mics forever. Like
Right.
you'd be doing open mic 20 years later. Oh, we're still doing this. I'm like, really? Like that's at the same level?
Yeah.
You know, we
Same
gotta
people for the last 15, 20 years.
exactly.
You know?
Like no, I don't want to ever be in that position. So like I respect the growth, man. One of the toughest pills I've had to swallow as an adult or as a black young man is not even so much about race and all of that, but it's more so about the fact that I had to realize that I have to be the leader of my generation to be able to create generational wealth. Like, you know, like how some people were born where someone in the family had a business already set up and all of that stuff. And they're like living their lives. They're able to kind of get that mentorship and all of that. For the most part, I've had to kind of learn on the go, on the fly, and learn my lessons as I go. You know what I mean? Like,
and you have to be that for the next people that
exactly.
come back. Yeah.
There's no room for failure. So like that's if anybody looks at me like, oh, this man, I get this a lot. People be like, oh, you look like you in the Navy, man. You look so serious all the time. Like I'm hustling. You know, my mind is always focused on some shit. And they be like, oh, you need to chill out a little bit. You right. But at the same time,
there's a balance. So you gotta...
I gotta get it, man. So like my mind is always focused on that for that reason, and it's a little added pressure for me because I feel like if I don't get to it, then I've failed that person. Like I give myself that pressure. It's not even that it's unhealthy to me or I don't feel it that way. I actually like it. You know what I mean? I like.
But
that
then
pressure.
why wouldn't you get to it?
Exactly.
Like, aren't you already there?
You would think.
Just you're playing out the steps. You know what I'm saying?
Prolepsis. You heard that word?
Not yet. No,
I don't even want to say
it.
this word because I don't want to get it wrong.
Teach me something, bro.
All
Teach
right,
me something.
so
oh, no.
I just learned this word from my brother O'Shea, and prolepsis is. I hope I'm saying this shit right. If I'm not,
where's Google?
Google that shit. No, but it's I guess basically the idea that everything that you are gunning for has already come to pass. You're just kind of doing the work to get there. So like that vision that you have for the growth of your business, where you're going to be, the shows that you see in your head, that's already happened. And for me, I see myself staring out of a window on the or of a high rise, wearing a suit, and I'm very wealthy. And this wealth has been generated from my effort, my hard work. So right now, as I'm like building these businesses and coming up with all these ideas, that's the thing that I keep thinking about every fucking day. I see that in my mind every day. So I know it's coming. I just have to keep the work up. So that's where I am, and I'm appreciative of that pressure for that reason.
Yeah, you'll get there for sure.
I believe it, sir. I believe we will. Like I'll be looking over at you like, ah, man, you beating me at something else again. Like, you got another app going or something. I don't know.
Not even close.
We're Australia.
We're all moving forward, bro.
No, I'm just playing.
I find that, and I'm sure you've seen this too, like the most successful people that I've met find some way to simplify what they do.
Yeah.
Where they could explain it in 2 minutes, or they can, they made $1 million in a year, and then they could do a 5-minute interview and tell me how they did it. And I'm just like, wait, what?
Right. They know how to recreate it.
Right. And we could study these grades and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like, as long as you have these certain principles, you're good with communicating with other people. You know your vision, you see it every single day, and you don't stray away from that.
Yeah.
And then you're persistent.
Yeah.
And like those are the people that they just simplify everything. And that's why I've been working really hard to try to simplify things. Mm-hmm. It's always constant work to make it simpler, but at the end of the day, it's always learning, figuring out who's doing it right, and then how do we just replicate that in our own way.
Exactly. I respect that, man. On that note, man, like, why don't you give the people a little bit, like your Instagram names and all of that stuff real quick?
So again, my name is JD Bailey. My Instagram is JD_Bailey93. That's BAILEY 93. The movement of Open Kanvas, everything is under OPENKANVAS. I'm actually one of 5 members in a band that we started. We actually just hit a year, bro.
That's what's up.
Neighborhood Soul Music.
Congrats. I want to hear that.
Yeah, it's I love the people that I work with. Like we got Von Trees, Brittany Teray, Bree, man, Chelsea as well. And then I do some vocals, I do some poetry, some hip hop stuff.
That's what's up.
We literally we got like 3 tracks almost done. I gotta go and put my verse in, and then we want to do like an EP.
Yeah.
But Neighborhood Soul Music, we record actually not too far from here in Inglewood.
That's what's up.
And it's just, 5 different types of artists. We came together as like a jam session. And then we just enjoyed the jam session so much we kept coming. And we're like, all right, let's just put a name to us because we already fuck with each other. We're dope. We're fun.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And you're only going to build from there. That's what's up.
Yeah. And then there was no events to go to. It's like perfect. We're just 5 of us in a room making music. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the vibe, boy.
Yeah. So that's
up,
Neighborhood Soul Music. And we'll be posting some more.
Music.
We got my girl. She's a graphic designer.
See, I'm telling you, bro.
You gotta have a strong woman behind you,
I
so.
see. That's what's
Shout
up.
out.
That's what's up. Congrats on
yeah,
that, man.
And outside of that, just contact me either Instagram or through Open Kanvas, and we'll be putting out more things. Obviously, we took a little hiatus with the quarantine stuff, but very soon we got some things to announce. So I appreciate this was kind of like coming back to the scene in a way.
Yeah.
I've been out of it, kind of in my bubble for a minute. So I appreciate you for bringing me here.
I appreciate you being here and doing what you're doing, bro. So
thank you.
Blessings to you. Thanks for coming to the podcast for the day, bro. And peace out.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much.
I think I just hit a Kobe with the peace out. Mamba out.
Nah, I appreciate you, bro.
Wait,
you gotta think, could you hear me breathing in the background?
Right. All of that's going through my head, but it's cool because I felt like I needed this because there's a lot of time, a lot of people don't really hear me talk regularly. So I believe me putting this podcast, I was gonna shock some people. They're like, oh, this nigga actually talks.
Until you did your poetry, outside of your poetry, I barely seen you talk at shows, bro.
That's what I be saying. I just told her that earlier. I go up, I'm like,
the people who I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, you like to talk.
Right. I might open the show, but then I'm in the back trying to run shit and make sure everything's going smoothly. So
did you ever host a show yourself, or you always had Steve Brown and?
I didn't have the confidence to